In this lesson, we're going to be talking about Qwik event handlers. So I'm going to start by giving you the simplest possible example of an event handler, which is going to be a Qwik handler. So let's go ahead and here in our root component of our application, let's go ahead and let's add here a new button. And for this button, we're going to be detecting the Qwik event. So let's add here some texts. Let's say, for example, say hello. And now let's add here a Qwik handler. So in Qwik, a Qwik handler can be added in the following way. I'm going to add here on click, and notice that this is not a small case. This is uppercase on click. Then we need to add here a dollar at the sign, and I'm going to tell you more about this dollar syntax here in a moment later on in the course. Right now, let's just add here a Qwik handler, and the Qwik handler is going to be an expression. This expression needs to be a function. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add an inline function for simplicity, and let's just add here a call to an alert box, and let's just say hello world. Let's now go ahead and let's try out this Qwik handler here in a larger window. So if I click here on say hello, we can see that the alert box is indeed working as expected. Now I have added this Qwik handler here inline directly in the view part of the component. But imagine a Qwik handler that has some logic that takes 10, 15, 20 lines of code or more. Then in that case, what we would like to do is to refactor this and move this into a function here inside the component. So we could define here a function that I'm going to call say hello, and this would be here an inline function using the arrow syntax, and we're going to move this code here inside our function. Now let's go ahead and let's call the function. Let's just call say hello. We're going to try to save here this file, and let's see what happens. If we now try this out here in a larger window, we're going to get an error. Only primitive and object literals can be serialized. And by the way, when you are taking this course, you might see here a slightly different error message. You might see here some different styling here to the error message. That is not the most important part. What is really important is to understand what is going on here. So it looks like Qwik is trying to serialize this function, and it realizes that it can't because functions are not serializable. So it looks like a Qwik handler needs to somehow be serializable due to some reason. We're going to understand exactly what is going on in a moment. Right now, I just want to show you that if you want to define here a function and you want it to be usable here as an event handler for any event, then we need to use this special Qwik syntax that I'm about to show you. In order to make this work, we need to make this function here, this closure, serializable. We can do so by using this special function here that is part of the Qwik API, which is simply called dollar. So we are going to use this dollar function here. I'm going to remove the definition of the function here. Let's call here the dollar function, and inside it we want to pass the function that we want to make serializable, which is here our event handler. And now we just have to save this file, and this time around, if we try this here in a larger window, we can see that no error occurs. So this is the previous error. I'm preserving errors between navigations. If I click here on say hello, we can see that the hello world Qwik handler is working correctly as expected. Now in the next lesson, I'm going to explain exactly what this dollar function means, and also explain what this dollar sign means here in the component API, in the dollar function, and also in other places, such as, for example, this on Qwik handler. Right now, I just want to mention that in general, other events besides the Qwik event can also be captured using a similar syntax. For example, we can have here the event on input, if this would be an input instead of a button, and all the other standard DOM events can also be captured in the same way, such as, for example, on mouse move, etc. But we need to add dollar at the end of it, otherwise it won't work. If we don't use dollar, then Qwik is not going to recognize that this is a Qwik event handler. Notice that this function here that we have created on the Qwik handler is just calling say hello, but it's not passing here any arguments, so we could even simplify this further and remove this inline function that we have defined and simply pass in here the name of the function. So if we save our file and we try this out, we are going to see that this is still working correctly. I'm just going to refresh because the browser was blocked in the pop-up. So now we have here the new version. Let's call say hello and we can see that the event handler is working correctly as expected. So now you understand how event handlers work. As you can see, it's very simple. You just need to use this notation in order to capture the DOM event that you need and add a dollar at the end. You can pass in here references to functions that are closures here inside the component creation function, but if you do so, you're going to have to wrap them in this dollar call in order to ensure that your closure function is serializable by Qwik. But the question is now naturally, why is this even necessary and what does this $sign mean that we keep using in different parts of the framework? I think that explaining now what the $sign means is going to help you better understand how Qwik is so much different than previous generation frameworks and why it's so fast. So in the next couple of lessons, I'm going to introduce two fundamental concepts, which are quick lazy loading and QRLs. Notice that these are some more advanced concepts that you are probably not going to need on a daily basis to develop applications with Qwik, but I think that they help a lot to understand how Qwik works under the hood and what are the main advantages of Qwik over previous frameworks. So let's go ahead and let's cover them in the next couple of lessons.